So, first off, I want to introduce someone who's very dear to my heart. She's not only my close and personal friend, but she's been my mentor for the past couple of years as well. She's been a big part of my personal growth and development, and no doubt will be from this going forward. People development and illuminating people's strengths, gifts, and purpose has been her passion and purpose in life. So I'd like to introduce to you my friend, Stephanie. Good morning.
How are you guys? How are you guys?
Good.
Welcome. It's good to see you this morning. We are so thankful for Tommy and Jesse. They have just been so instrumental in helping us with all that we've done. We couldn't have done it without them. We started this about 6 months ago. We started working on this, and I know it looks like it's pretty simple, but there's a lot that goes into this, and they have helped us take it so much farther than what we could have ever done. And so we just appreciate everything that you guys have done, and you guys are just a blessing to us, and we thank you so much. You know, Grant and I just this morning, our purpose is to help you guys, to pour into you. In a room like this, there's going to be multiple levels of people and where they're at with their purpose. Maybe you don't realize you have a purpose. Maybe you have one and you're just kind of starting that process. Maybe you're pretty far down the road and you've kind of hit a plateau and you're like, I just need a little help. I just need a little push. So hopefully today, Grant and I, one or both of us, will say something that's going to inspire you, help fire that up inside of you, give you some motivation, give you a next step, something like that. So not everything we say is going to mean anything to you, but hopefully there'll be something, like Jesse said, that you can act on, that you can change, or that you can teach, because everybody has a purpose. We're all created for a purpose. We all have one. You know, discovering that purpose is a journey. It doesn't happen today. So if you're sitting here today thinking, all right, I'm coming today, I'm going to discover what my purpose is, and I'm done. It's not going to be the case. It's a journey. As with any journey, it's growing, it's changing, it's layering, it's being able to move. To take a journey is to be fluid and to have some flexibility in what you're doing. And so that's the beautiful thing about purpose, is that even though the vehicle of what your purpose is may change a little bit, the purpose that you contain inside of you never changes. It never changes. Maybe in the past of your life you've had some experiences that maybe have been really dark and heavy, and that made you feel, I have no value. There's nothing that anybody could get from me because my life has been horrendous. Okay, today's a new day for you. Today's a new day. Today matters, and going forward, I want you to understand that from this day forward, the purpose that's inside of you, if you just fan that flame a little bit, is enough light. Woo, something was sticky there. Is enough light to extinguish that darkness very quickly. Your purpose is so powerful that no matter what's happened to you in the past in your life, you can take those experiences, you can learn to use some of what's happened to you to help somebody else. Probably your purpose will greatly benefit, if you choose to let it, from some of those dark moments in your life. So I just want to encourage you right off the bat this morning that, you know, don't allow the past experiences of your life this morning. As we start to talk and you think, well, I can't do that because of this. I want that thought to hopefully be set aside for the next few hours so that you can just listen and receive and take in the things that we feel like we're to pour into your life today. One of the things that, whoops, I just pushed the wrong button. So me and the clicker don't always get along very good. So, you know, see, there we go. We don't need the music. One of the things that I love about purpose is that, you know, we just talked about maybe some dark moments in your life that you feel like just because you don't know your purpose, there is in your purpose, it is a thread of consistency that runs throughout your whole life. It is always there, and it's unconsciously moving you in the directions and the opportunities by which your life is going to add impact. All right? So you can say, I don't have purpose, but guess what? You do. Just because you say you don't have it doesn't mean it's there. And as soon as you begin to be intentional about discovering this and working towards this and understanding what value and impact you're going to have, it's going to just begin to grow bigger and bigger in you. And you guys are all here today, so I know that you have an interest in this, that you're intentional about taking a Saturday morning when you could have been sleeping or doing something else, and coming and trying to learn to grow and invest in yourself. So that's a huge thing right there. Individual purpose is unique. Everybody here's purpose is unique, all right? There's no doubt, as different as we look, our purposes are also as unique. Now, but purpose, although it's unique, is not solitary. It's never solitary. Your purpose was created to link up with somebody else's. And that is what creates significance in the history of our humanity, right? Think of the moments that we think about as great moments. You know, we think about Martin Luther King, I Have a Dream. We think about getting a man on the moon. We think about Mother Teresa and the impact that she had, right? Those are all people that we think, wow, I'm no Mother Teresa. That's what people say. No, you're not. But I guarantee it, she would have said, yeah, but I'm no Condra. All right? I'm no Susan. Because we all have pieces that when they come together, that helps that person with that vision produce what they were called to do. So that's why your purpose is so important. Even though it's unique, it's not just for yourself. So it doesn't matter how small you think your purpose is. It's a vital piece to something bigger that makes an impact in history. So I want that to kind of be the thread of thought that you have today as we go forward. I love what Pablo Picasso said. The meaning of life is to find your gift. We all say, I don't have any meaning in my life. It's because you're not searching for your gift. The purpose of that gift is to give it away. All right? So if you find your gift, if I'm Celine Dion, I wish I was, and I'm singing this beautiful music in the shower, that doesn't do anybody any good. I have my gift. I know what I'm good at, but I'm not giving it to anybody. Your purpose is designed to be given away, all right? And that becomes the meaning of your life in the same sense. So you say, well, you know, okay, that's great. You say I have a purpose, but I still don't know what it is. I still don't know what that looks like. And I relate to you. It's been a 10-year journey for me being intentional about finding my purpose. Now, my purpose has been there my whole life. As I look back, I can see the thread that was there. But in the last decade, through the help of my husband and some of the things that he's pushed me to do, that's the benefit of having a very strong partnership with somebody, I began to discover some things that I think I can pour into you today that will help you, hopefully, either find your purpose in the beginning of that path or maybe help you develop where you're already at, okay? And I think the first thing is we're going to talk about what is in your heart. In your pamphlets there, you're going to have a real simple sheet that you can make your own notes if you would like to for each of these 3 areas that we're going to go through. Thank you, Dana, for all the oils that I have on and in my water. Dana keeps me going. What is in your heart? Many things that will capture your, or there are many things that will catch your eye, but there's only a few that will capture your heart. And I think this is a very fine line, and I think a lot of times we get a little bit mixed up in this because we see something that's good and we jump out there and we do it, but then we're like, wow, now I've added that to my plate, now I just have one more thing to do. And it's good. So it's caught our eye because it's good, it's interesting to us, but it doesn't capture your heart necessarily. So what I want to help you discover is what is in your heart, because if you can focus on that, your purpose flows from your heart, who you really are inside. That is where your core beliefs, that is where your purpose resides. If you can begin to identify what your heart looks like, you're going to be able to then recognize what's capturing your heart and what's just a good thing. Hey, that's great, man, I encourage you, I support you in that, but yeah, this is what's capturing me, not that, okay? Grant teases me all the time about, you know, the whole saying about, oh, squirrel, you know, something shiny catches your eye, right? So don't let every shiny thing catch your eye. Be sure that what you're walking out consistently is something that captures your heart. And there are 3 ways that I think you can begin to see and recognize what is in your heart. And the first one is, what do you cry about? What do you cry about? I'm not talking about watching the Titanic. I think all of us could say that would make us cry. The Notebook, even you guys, if you watched The Notebook and didn't cry, I think something's wrong with you. But anyway, I think that it's not an emotional cry. It is what breaks your heart so much that it provides motivation for you to find resolution and change in that. I firmly believe that what your purpose is, you have been deposited in you the things that are required to facilitate change for what makes you cry, all right? What makes Chris cry is going to be different than what makes Susan cry. Kathy, Mitch, your cries are going to be different. I like to think of it too as a responsible urge. You just have this urge to take responsibility and take care of something. Now, obviously you look at somebody like Mother Teresa, her responsible urge was like, to me, that was scary. I'm like, man, I couldn't have went to India and done the things she did. But she saw a need. The children in the streets of India caused her to cry so much that she would do whatever it took to meet that need, okay? Now, my cry may not be that. Well, I can tell you it's not that. My cry is when I see people walking through life without meaning. When I see them just being listless, they have no energy, they're not happy, they're not pursuing anything, that makes me cry. And that's where I want to pour into people. So does that kind of show you, that's kind of my heart, my cry. The second thing that I think that you can identify your heart is, what do you sing about? What do you sing about? Again, we're not talking about singing in the shower because that could be pretty scary. We're talking about the things that as you begin to discover things in your life, maybe you're a coach, maybe you're a teacher, and not all of the job is great, but in those moments when you see change or you see progress in a young person or you see, whatever that is, it causes joy. Any of you guys know what I'm talking about? You feel that joy like, oh, that's an up arrow. That's it right there. And it just surged spontaneously, right? Did you have to think about it? Did you have to conjure up it? I don't think that's proper English. Did you have to conjure it up in your mind? It wasn't an emotion. It was joy, okay? And joy is a partnership specifically with purpose. Joy, I think I like to say it this way, joy is the energy producer in your life because it is a partner with purpose. We look for energy, and I'm not talking about just a physical, endurance, I'm gonna, drink a Coke or a cup of coffee and get some energy. I'm talking about a sustainable force in your life that allows you to endure some of the hardships, some of the struggles. Going back to a teacher, for example, a teacher who's got a kid that she's tutoring or he's tutoring, and there's such a challenge with that child, and where most people would give up, a teacher who's truly called in purpose to be a teacher, that joy gives them the energy to endure the struggles that it would take because they see the importance and the value of that kid, right? That's the kind of thing I'm talking about. Joy is not an emotion. I think in America we say things like, we're given the right to the pursuit of happiness. That's great, that's great. I think what we need to replace that with, though, if we become intentional, is the pursuit of purpose. Because let's just dissect this for a minute. If happiness is what we seek, and happiness is really just an emotion, it's produced in our bodies, we're created for happiness, no doubt, but it's not sustainable. People that pursue happiness have a life that is eventful. They have a life full of events. We look forward to our first child. We look forward to our wedding day. We look forward to graduation. We look forward to that new job. We look forward to that vacation. I'm a travel agent, so I always look forward to vacations. And so we attain that. We have that surge, and then there's nothing, right? That's happiness. That's okay. Happiness allows us to create memories. That's how our bodies are created, right? And there's oils, there's things that help stimulate that give us some lift and stuff. But let's look at the difference. If you're pursuing purpose and you understand every day what you're walking out, every day, and then you have an event, but in the process of that same event, you haven't anticipated the event, that is just part of your daily discovery of your purpose. Your purpose will capitalize that event. Yes, the birth of your grandchild will be an amazing rush of an emotion, but it doesn't peak and die because your purpose continues to carry you through that, all right? Your purpose with that joy becomes sustainable, and that creates momentum in your life that continues to go and go and go. That is where I see the difference in people who are always seeking happiness and people that are steadily pursuing their purpose. Can you guys see the difference in that? Does that kind of feel, can you feel the difference in that? So, nothing wrong with happiness. Everybody here understand I'm not against happiness. Don't pursue it. Understand, just like going to a gym, nobody I think goes to a gym to pursue sweat, but sweat is a byproduct. It's going to happen if you go through the process of your workout. If you go through the process of finding your purpose, practicing, developing, and walking that out, joy is the force there. Happiness will be a byproduct. So you will find that. So then people don't hit a certain age in life where I'm getting close to. I'm not going to tell you what that age is. And I have a lot of people that I've known that they say, well, I'm leaving my job. It just doesn't make me happy. He doesn't make me happy. She doesn't make me happy. I don't know, I'm just not happy. And it's this whole thing. And I look at that and it makes my heart cry, because I think because you spent 50 years chasing events in your life, and now that the events are done, you have nothing because you had nothing else that you were pursuing. And that makes my heart cry, because you're just starting the next half of your life. Or maybe you're in your 30s and you're just doing this, okay? It doesn't really matter the age. Find out what makes you sing. Find that out. That's really important, because that's going to give you the joy to sustain your life. And that's very, very important. The third thing that I think you can find in your heart is, what do you dream about? And I think this is huge. You know, I remember as a kid always hearing people talk about the kids in class that were daydreamers, and they kind of looked down on them. Was anybody here a daydreamer? Yeah, Aaron was. I knew my son was. I was going to see if he was going to acknowledge that. You know, people would make fun of that, and they would discourage that, and they would say, oh, he just daydreams all the time. And I look at that now and I think, man, don't discourage your kids from daydreaming. Now, obviously, you know, they have to pay attention in class, but what you dream about, what you think about without consciously thinking about it. Can you grasp that idea? Thinking about what you don't consciously think about. When you're just sitting around, all of a sudden, this thing comes into your head. Or this is really intangible, because it's very personal to each one of you. But when you begin to discover what makes you dream, because your core beliefs and values are in your heart. So that's going to be a real revelation to you on something that, I'm trying to think of a really good example here. Well, look at Martin Luther King. I mean, he had a dream for real. I think we can all see that dream. That was something that from the time he was a young man that was there, he dreamed of equality in this country. That was a dream that he had. And it wasn't a dream like, oh, I just dream of being rich and having a fancy car. That's not it. It was a dream with a purpose, because remember, your purpose is for somebody else. So what do you dream about? What is something that you can't get away from? The desires of your heart are not given to frustrate or tease you, but to give you direction. I heard Sarah Palin say this years ago, and it has stuck with me and has been a guidepost for me. Because sometimes when you dream about things, you think, oh, what do we say? Oh my gosh, why can't I quit thinking about it? That is silly. I could never do that. Have we all said that? Have anybody said that besides me? I can't do that. Gosh, I just can't get that out of my head. Quit trying to get that out of your head. That's my point here. Those desires of your heart, those things that just keep coming up inside of you that you just think, oh, if I could just stop today and do anything, there was no barriers, this is what I would do. And you just kind of go there. Has anybody done that? You just kind of go to that place where if I could do anything, this is what it would be. If I could coach the New York Yankees, that's what I would do. No, I wouldn't really. So understand that it's not to frustrate or tease you. It's to help give you direction. That is that purpose, that thread unconsciously. Hey, here's a direction. Go, go, go. Follow this. Follow that heart. Follow that dream. I was recently privileged to be in a meeting where Melinda Gates was in a Q&A session. And Melinda Gates is Bill Gates' wife, Microsoft. I'm sure everybody knows that, but just in case. I had never really heard her story too much before. And when she began to talk, I was like, oh my gosh, this is a person who is a beautiful example of this. She and Bill, before they were ever married, both had a heart and a dream. Their cry, their song was very similar. And that was that young women and in underprivileged societies and communities, in their own communities, they had a heart and a burden for girls and young unwed mothers or single mothers that just couldn't seem to get over that hill, just couldn't get over it. For whatever reasons in life, they just didn't have the means to do it. And they saw this endless cycle, and it just perpetuated, and it broke their hearts. As a 14-year-old girl, Melinda Gates said that she was very well taken care of. She had a wonderful family who encouraged her. She was very well off. She went to a private school, and this private school in the suburbs of Dallas, Texas, these girls' school, would go out into the community, and this is where she began to discover her heart. She saw the need, and then she found joy. She found what made her sing when she found ways to engage and help these girls. So her dream was alive years before Microsoft made its first dollar. And she did not allow those desires. As a young 14-year-old girl, when I was 14, I would have never thought anything about helping other women and girls. Well, I can't do anything about that. I don't have any money, right? I don't have a car. How am I going to help somebody? She did not allow that desire and that dream in her heart to stop her or to to go away just because she was 14. She pursued it, and it just built, and it built, and I firmly believe that's why Bill and she were attracted, because their purposes were very much alike. Now, as they built Microsoft, because that's part of what their skill sets were, Microsoft becomes the what for their why. Microsoft is not why Bill and Melinda Gates exist. Microsoft is not their purpose. Okay? Your job isn't always your purpose. Many times your job is what funds, resources, provides influence, connections for your purpose. Because what they do now, how 25, 30 years Microsoft, I'm not sure if I have the years right on that, a long time Microsoft has been building and growing, and they're worth billions now, right? They give billions into third world countries. They give away other people's fortunes willingly. Warren Buffett is dumping money into their foundation, okay? The foundation, the dream was there way before Microsoft made a dollar, way before it made a dollar. But because they pursued their dream, what happened? Do you see how the money and the influence connected to that because they were moving in their purpose? Without them moving early, I honestly don't think Microsoft would have been the success that it was, because it was there for that purpose. They are making an impact on the world that's incredible. I think one of the stats she gave was in the underdeveloping countries, because of what they poured into, with their influence, with their connections, with their money, yes, they have dropped the mortality rate of women in childbirth by 90%. 90%. They are literally saving lives by simple things that they've done with what they've been able to use, because their dream was there when she was a 14-year-old girl. Do you see how that connects? Way back, it was there the whole time. So your what is not always your why. Okay, so I just discovered that probably a year ago. What I do for a living is not my why. And what I do for a living helps fund and resource and provide connections for my why. So when you're talking about your heart, that's key to understand. You know, what do you dream about? Those dreams that you are dreaming about, they're drawing out of you what's already deposited in you. All right? So your dreams are not something that just comes from, outer space somewhere. What? They don't come from outer space. They are there for a reason. Now, there is a difference as you take this journey when you begin to choose to intentionally discover what's in your heart. What do you sing about? What do you cry about? What do you dream about? It's a journey. It's not going to happen today, next week, next year, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. It never changes. It never changes, but it's always evolving, okay? One of the things that I'm learning personally is being driven is not the same thing as being passionate. Passion is what we're talking about, your heart. You can be driven to achieve and accomplish those events in your life, or you can be passionate and love the journey. All right, I love Simon Sinek made a comment recently about, there's an excitement, there's emotion when you achieve something, but the journey is what it's really all about. That's where you find fulfillment. Wouldn't we all rather have fulfillment than just a temporary emotion? I would. So passion is a love for the journey. Drive is a need to reach a destination. All right, so there's a difference there. I'm an achiever by nature. One of my strengths is achiever, so I'm a driver. I'm sure Aaron can tell you this. I'm not a coddler. I'm a driver. I want to get there. I want to get stuff done, and I am learning to enjoy the journey. So I'm standing before you today saying that it doesn't happen overnight, and it doesn't mean just because I'm revealing something to you that it's going to be easy for you. I'm just trying to give you some insight as to what this looks like. So enjoy the journey. So we've talked about follow your passion. It's going to lead you to your purpose. One of the best quotes ever by Oprah there. Your passion is what's in your heart. Follow that. If we stop today, I hope that this right here will help you walk out of this room. If I'll begin to follow my heart, I'm going to find why I'm on this earth. Isn't that the question we ask as humans? Why? I don't know why I'm here. I don't know why I'm here. Well, you can find out why you're here because you have a why. The second thing, what's in your power? We talked about what's in your heart. What was in your heart again? What makes you cry? What makes you? Dana got all three right, so she gets a piece of candy. All right, so that's very internal. That is very personal, right? Nobody, think about this. That's the very inner part of who you are. Unless you share that, nobody knows that but you. Your purpose is unique to you. So just like nobody can take that from you, no one can make your purpose come to pass either. It's very personal and it's very much your responsibility. Now, what's in your power? And I'm not talking about girl power here. I'm talking about what's in your power as in what is the what. Bill and Melinda Gates' what for their why was Microsoft. Why was their what, their power? It was a strength and an ability and a gifting that they had inside of them that allowed them to be very good at something. Very good at something. Your power is your strengths, and they are very authentic and unique to you. All of you have very unique strengths, skill sets. We're talking about, there's so many different layers of this, and you can say, well, I don't really know what that is, and we're going to talk about that. There is a parable of the trees that I'm going to read to you real quick that I think kind of, I like the way this plays it out, and I think maybe you guys can picture yourself as trees, I don't know. But it goes something like this. It says that, well, let me get to my right page. The trees went forth on a time to anoint a king over them, and they said unto the olive tree, come reign over us. But the olive tree said unto them, should I leave my fatness, wherewith by me they honor God and man, and go be a tree over all the rest of you? And they said, then they went to the fig tree, and they said, come, reign over us, fig tree. And the fig tree said, should I forsake, leave my sweetness, by which my good fruit is given, to go be promoted over the trees? And then the trees went to the vine and said, come and reign over us. And the vine said, should I leave my wine and cheer to man to be promoted over the trees? Two things I want you to see about this. They were all trees. The trees came to other trees and said, hey, I think you'd be good at reigning over us. It wasn't sheep coming to the trees. It was trees coming to the trees, right? So this is obviously something that somebody recognized, hey, you'd be good at this. The most important key about this is each one of those, the olive tree, the fig tree, and the vine, we won't get into all the representation of all that, but they all said, hey, I'm not leaving what I'm called to do. I'm not leaving my purpose, even though that's good. I'm glad, I appreciate you think I could do that, right? But I'm not going to leave that because this is where I'm supposed to be. I'm planted where I'm supposed to be, okay? That's one of the biggest mistakes I've made in my life, and I see this happening a lot. Not that it's a bad thing, but personal example, I like to talk. Do you guys realize that? One of my strengths is also harmony, which means I can have an elevator conversation with somebody just like that. Okay, so people say, you could sell ice water to Eskimos. So guess who comes to Stephanie every time there is a new network marketing or business opportunity or volunteer position at church? Guess who comes to Stephanie? Hey, will you come reign over us? Will you come do this? And I've had to learn to say, gosh, that's great. I really respect what you're doing. That's awesome. This is where I'm at, okay? Because I've learned what my strengths are. I'm beginning to learn my purpose. It gives me the power to say no. Not no because I'm lazy and I don't want to do anything. No because I know the value that I'm adding, okay? So that pertains to everybody. And whatever you're doing, as you begin to narrow that down and you find those things, you might have 4 or 5 things right now that you feel like you're really good at. As you become intentional, guess what? It's going to get narrower and narrower, and you're going to really find that place where you're going to feel that power. So it's really important that you understand that your place of calling, your unique purpose, is far greater in function and honor than any level of promotion outside your purpose. Okay? Let that sink in for a minute. Your place of function is higher and more honorable than anything anybody else can bring to you. Okay? It might take you a while to find that, but you're going to get there. And when you do, you're going to understand. You like my palm trees from Hawaii? This is actually my picture. I was pretty proud of that. It was pretty nice on that beach too. So understand that your purpose is super important, and then you need to get to that point where you can stay planted. Again, this isn't going to happen today. I'm not condemning you. I'm not criticizing you if you're not there. This is something to act on. This is something to change. This is something that you can become better at, and it's going to help you greatly. So what are the 3 things now that we can identify that helps us to see what that means when I say what's in my power? Okay, we talked about what's in your heart, what's in my power. The first thing, how about those mountains? First thing is, what are my strengths? Okay, and I'm not talking about how many reps I can do of 5 pounds. I'm talking about what are your natural strengths in life? What is your personality bent? You know, as a human being, our personalities and our makeup are so diverse and so unique that it's just, everybody's is just slightly different. And you say, well, I don't know I don't have a talent. I used to think that because I can't sing, I can't jump, I can't dance, I can't draw, I can't do anything. Honestly, I can't do anything. And I thought, I don't have a talent, so what am I supposed to do with my life, you know? And I began to see a talent isn't always sing, run, jump, dance, shoot a ball, whatever, you know, any of those things. Many times what it is I'm really good at connecting with people. I really know how to listen. Dana's a fantastic listener. I don't even know what strength that is, but she's a fantastic listener. Chris, oh my gosh, an enthusiasm, a connectability to connect people. Those are the kind of gifts and strengths I'm talking about, okay? And you can say, well, I don't know what they are. Well, guess what? You can find out. There is no excuse now in this society that we live in to not be able to find what your strengths are. There are any number of tests that you can take very inexpensively or for free online to get started. If you're interested in that and you think, I don't even know where to start, talk to Grant and I, we can shoot you in the right direction. And that's not a plug for anything. That's just, I want you to understand when you start to identify what your natural gifts are, it's going to help you understand where you need to be planted because it's going to make sense to you. Your gifts line up with your purpose. So if you don't know what your gifts are, you know, then you're kind of in this, you're straddling that fence, right? So you need to understand where your strengths are. So that's the first thing in your power is what are in your strengths. The second thing is where am I good that I can become great? All right? We recognize greatness in this society. Not in our society, in humanity. Greatness is what people look to.